Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Good morning and welcome to Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090. A lot of red eyes here in studio as everyone's slowly waking up in that damn spring forward. Damn you. Terrible. But everyone made it here surprisingly on time.
Surprisingly.
I honestly, if I had to bet, I would have assumed that somebody on the show would have slept in and skipped it and then been like, oh, today was the day, while they were out hanging out in Palm Springs or something like that.
I could have done that, I guess.
I had to get up and change the clocks.
I picked a bad time to have NyQuil. I combined it with the change in time and
3 shots of whiskey.
Oh God, I feel like I'm in a. They could use this in a hospital to induce comas.
Hey, look what he's wearing, Bobby.
What?
Oh, I wasn't going to mention that out loud.
So yeah, it definitely makes you sleep, but man, it's not so good about waking up. So a couple of cups of coffee, and I'm going to try to get through this one with your guys' help, but I'm not feeling so good.
We're here for you.
NyQuil and cups of coffee. Your body's probably going, what the hell
That's
is Paul doing to me?
Speedball in the trade, I think.
It doesn't know what it's doing.
Also in studio, Scott Cox. Good morning, Scott.
Morning, Bobby.
Manning that Bike Week Radio Show Facebook page. It's been a very active week on there, and just promoting some of the stuff we've had coming on. Bob Jones, he's the promoting a benefit auction coming up. We just posted a link through the Bike Week Radio Show
in
Facebook
St. Louis.
page. Yeah, coming up in St. Louis, and they had a friend, Chris Blankenship, who unfortunately passed away unceremoniously, and so just a nice chance for some of the people in the surrounding areas. Even if you're just listening and want to help donate to that, he's got 2 young kids and a wife, and so we definitely just want to rally behind that benefit and give it a nice plug. Also, Colin Edwards coming up, the always entertaining, always colorful, and always hot on the beep button here on just in the 8-second delay. We're broadcasting in a 30-second delay today, just in case when Colin Edwards comes on.
Just in case.
Good plan. Very good plan.
Also, Brockster will be joining us shortly, but let's just get things started with the news with Paul Carruthers.
Nobody knows the news better than Bike Week Radio Show.
This was an age when only men were allowed to read the news.
And only Bike Week Radio Show has Paul Carruthers.
Hey, I'm here. We can do the news now. It's all right, everyone. We can do the news. Hold on. Everyone, why are we all standing around? Let's go.
Well, let's talk about a little Supercross. My personal favorite Supercross of the year, the Daytona Supercross. It's one that I've seen many times in person, and it's one I'll never miss on TV because it's just I don't know.
Nothing like it.
It's like not that Supercross isn't a man sport, but this is actually a man Supercross, and
that was a very cool track they had last night.
Yeah, it was cool. It was if you probably noticed, if anybody who watches the event, that they kind of they changed things up a lot with this track. It went in a different direction. It had some tighter stuff than normal.
Long straightaway.
Oh man, that straightaway was just incredible. And that's the one Supercross where they're able to run like a side by side next to the
the proper racetrack,
they're running backwards to what NASCAR does on the banking in like a side by side of some
best
sort.
Camera shots.
It's awesome because that's the one place where you can really see how fast they're going, and it was good that they put the fast section.
And Brock
there
had
too.
mentioned in the pre-show, he said as good as it was on TV, he said it was over the top in person.
But anyhow, as far as the results go, Ryan Dungey on his factory KTM continued his recent domination of the sport. We were talking to Brock off air earlier this morning, and he was talking about, he was kind of Mr. Second Place there for a while. Well, he's not. He's no longer Mr. Second Place.
He's way out there.
Last night was his fourth win of the season, and believe it or not, his first career win in what is arguably the most prestigious Supercross on the calendar.
I think he'd had a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I think 2 second places, but had never won. I could tell going in, his pre-race interview, he was trying not to put a lot of pressure on himself to win that one, but that's one that they all want to win, and he was able to do that. So good for him. he's going to be difficult to beat. He's got a 40-point lead in the championship, and you give Ryan Dungey 40 points, he's not the type of guy that throws that thing away. So I know it's a little early to give him the title at this point, but if the fat lady's going to sing, she could start warming up about now, because he's, like I said,
at least start gargling.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not a guy that does silly things, and barring a machine problem or something like that, you can't see him throwing back many of those points. Eli Tomac turned in a strong performance to finish second, and Blake Baggett was a career best third with his first ever 450 podium. And that's our buddy RJ, Rick Johnson's
been working
helping with him
this year, and man, market improvement every week. He's just been moving up, and now here he is on the podium, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, good for Rick, because sometimes these guys step in and help or whatever, and it's like, oh, well, what can they actually do for him? But when you can see somebody have an instant gain in their performance, then you know what? It shows that a little experience and all those national championships that Ricky had, and you are able to pass that on to a young kid, so it's good to see. Yeah, it's also good because I like to see old guys continue to get paid to go to motorcycle races.
Instead of just showing up.
And speaking of old guys...
Ouch.
Broc Glover joins us.
Brockster, he's looking at me when he pointed to the screen.
Wow, that was a good segment. And you're right. Old guys get paid to go to motorcycle races. That sums me up right there. Nice, concise summary there, Paul. Good job.
Yeah. And you know what, Brock? I always tell people, because they say, oh, Brock's an ex-racer. He's got a job in the motorcycle industry like all the other ex-racers. And I tell them, Broc Glover's a smart enough guy that Broc Glover would have that job no matter what he did in his motorcycling career.
Right.
So good on you there, lad.
Thanks there, mate.
And then let's talk real quick about the 250s, and then we'll let Brock talk about the Supercross a little bit more. But Marvin Musquin won his second 250 race in a row and his third in 4 races, beating Justin Bogle and Jeremy Martin. And those three, I think it's probably like the third straight race, I think, that those three have been on the podium. So they seem to, those three seem to find their way to the front no matter where they start. Once Musquin got in the lead off the start, you didn't think anyone was going to catch him.
He just looked so, ridiculously fast. He started yarding those guys from the start, and you just go, how does he do that? Those are really, Justin Bogle in particular. Here's a guy flying a number 1 plate from last season, and a guy gets away from you that fast. How do you explain that?
Well, it was an interesting, he was quite fast from the very, very beginning, and he's riding at a very confident level that he probably hasn't shown in Supercross before. He rode real well last year at Daytona. His years of Grand Prix experience in the sand and riding in different conditions like that clearly shows. Jeremy Martin's no slouch in the sand either, and he's got tremendous speed, but it just looked like between his heat race and the main event, he spent himself a little bit. And as Paul was mentioning there, Daytona is one of the toughest tracks. And it just, Jeremy had a lot of speed and was doing some exciting stuff, really charging the jumps, a couple of the jumps on the opposite side of the finish line there, as you probably saw on TV. But, he just looked like he ran out of steam. And clearly those three guys that Paul was mentioning are, much faster than the rest of the field. I think there was, although Savatgy rode well and came from a kind of a mediocre start for the Pro Circuit Monster Energy rider there, those guys were half a lap behind the third place or the fourth place finisher was well back. So, But Marvin's just looking unstoppable right now.
I couldn't help but think of you last night when watching the first race there and seeing, that tight left-hand first turn and then instantly followed by a right-hand tight turn. I'm thinking, oh, man, I know Brock's not liking this because I know how you feel about those first turns when they tighten up like that. But I guess that really it didn't cost anybody too badly except for Trey Kennard.
Well, as you mentioned, Daytona, although the lap times were only in the 104 range, so that's much shorter than normal. And then I guess there was a little bit of grumbling. So a little behind the scenes, we all saw what happened. Talking about being the man's race and the great race. It is the biggest love-hate relationship between all the teams, all the managers, all the riders. It's just, there was even, I was sitting there talking to a couple of the team managers and the point, it's like, there's this point of like, do we really even need to come here? And that's how much aggravation that the Daytona Motor Group basically puts on all the riders and the teams. There's constant hassles with the passes. passes that you have for all 16 other rounds don't work there. You got to get special passes. Then when you try to walk to this one place, one police, one security guard is stopping you, even if you have the right pass. I finally had to go to the AMA trailer and say, listen, I've got the right passes to go here, but they keep, I don't want to be sitting here having confrontations and having to literally call over a head of security to tell his security guy that he's mistaken, that this pass does get to go there, and there is no way to get to that part of the track unless you go on this side of the fence versus that side of the fence. I mean, it's every team is just like pulling their hair out, yet Daytona, and everybody wants to go, yeah, Daytona, it's the big, tough, great Supercross. It's arguably the most prestigious one of the year. Yet, I think when I told the person I was talking to at the time, Roger Costa, I said, honestly, Daytona doesn't deserve the Supercross series here. They don't deserve us.
Right.
The show that the Supercross, and I call it us because it's such a big family, they don't deserve us because they treat us so poorly, yet, they keep having this come back every year. And I think the problem that we have is Daytona's Motorsports Group owns, when they purchased all the rights to the AMA, racing, pro racing, dirt track, they took road racing, they took Supercross, and they took motocross. And then they subcontract the motocross to the MX Sports Group. They subcontract the one event, the Feld Motorsports Group. And then now, with the hiring of Ronnie Jones, and I saw those guys all going around with the dirt track series, they're trying to rebuild the dirt track series. And Paul, you know as well as anyone what they did to the road racing series. So, honestly, it's like they don't deserve the Supercross.
No, I mean you're right. It's always been a difficult place to work. And I mean, the road race teams have always complained. It's one of those places where, they kick you out of the garage area at 6:00 at night, when you can imagine the amount of work that those guys have, especially leading up to like a race like the Daytona 200. Everyone has to leave the garage area. I mean, this goes back to when my dad was a crew chief there and when my dad raced there. And then to the other part of your point is with the passes. I mean, I've been there. I've gone to the Daytona 200 for, I don't know, the last 20 some years. And there can be a security guy sitting outside the press room, and keep in mind the bathroom's not in the press room either. So every time you have to go to the bathroom, you have to leave the press room to go to the bathroom. And if I left there 4,000 times, the guy wanted to see my pass 4,000 times to come back in the press room.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I would have gone there this year, I would have had a catheter put in.
I hear what you're saying, and that's the problem.
I got one word for you, Paul. Depends.
Yeah, and the discussion, I mean, is literally, they don't deserve to have us. Honestly, they don't deserve to have us. How do we get this thing off the schedule? But we all we want to go there because it's, I mean, last night to me, that front straightaway we talked about, those were speeds that were so fun to watch, and watching Tomac just rear wheel wheelie the thing, and to see how fast like Pike was going. All these guys were going so fast, it was exciting. But in all honesty, was it dangerous? Of course, if somebody would have crashed, because the dirt's so dark and the lighting's not great. I mean, if somebody would have crashed, God forbid that bike would have landed up in a spectator standing on the banking. But, it's just one of these, they just need to have an agreement amongst the team and the Daytona Motorsports people. It's like, look, just let us continue with the normal passes we have. Get your guys. I mean, they're better than they used to be, but I remember when I was first starting the racing, seeing riders, I remember Rex Staten getting handcuffed and put in a cop car, and they were hauling him away, taking him to jail. I mean, it's like really over arguing. I'm a rider in full muddy riding gear, and I'm trying to walk where the riders are allowed to walk because I don't have my hat hanging around my neck. You're not going to let me go there? I mean, I'm not some imposter here. I'm sorry. I'm not going to ride with back in the old days, the pass credentials, what you held them with, would look like a diaper pin, for goodness. I mean, that, you don't want to ride
diaper
with
talk today.
Technically, those are blanket pins.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Do you remember the old plastic cards?
I've never threw one away. I've got about 400 of them.
Scott's wearing one now.
I am, actually, and a diaper.
It depends. One of those things. So the point is, the Daytona is really that big love-hate relationship, but it does mark the center of the series. And, whoever kind of wins at that point usually takes kind of a dominating, they kind of beats down the psyche of everybody. And Dungey he laid it down in another KTM sweep for boy, he looks really strong right now.
And we also had World Motocross. Last weekend we were talking about Ryan Villopoto, and for him, what was basically a horrible result. Well, he bounced back from that. Anybody who saw there was video of the qualifying heat race could see that, he was dominant and was going to be dominant. He won the first moto, and I don't know what happened in the second moto because I've been trying to find out. You think that would be one thing that would be fairly easy to find on the internet, but it's not. But he ended up going 1-3, finishing third in the second moto to beat Clement Desal, who went 2-2, and world champion Antonio Caroli was third with his 5-1. Villopoto moves to fourth in the championship with 70 points. He's 18 points behind Desal. And, he was 23 seconds behind in that second moto. So something, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got a horrible start or what. We'll have to find that out. But based on his performance in Moto 1 and also in the qualifying race, there had to have been something happen because he was on a mission there. Those guys don't race again until March 29th in Argentina, so they get a little bit of a break because they pretty much went back-to-back. Villopoto seems to have things back on track. Herlings won both 250 motos, so he's perfect with 4 moto wins and 4 starts this year. The AMA Grand National Championship gets started down there where Broc is this weekend with the Daytona Short Track doubleheader on Thursday and Friday night, and the historic Daytona 200 will be held on Saturday night. And Broc, I think you got something else to tell me.
Well, I was going to talk a couple of things about RV's bike last week. According to some pretty inside sources over the green teams, there was some electrical issues last week that they pretty much solved. RV, the most impressive performance that I thought, RV's qualifying race, you think, well, nobody cares. Caroli's an old, 8-9-time world champion. He doesn't really care about qualifying races on Saturday, et cetera, et cetera. But Villopoto's heat race, his qualifying race, when he won that, he won by 33 seconds over Desal, another second place. So this guy's like Mr. Second Place right now this year with 4 straight second place moto finishes and second places in qualifying races. But the thing that was so impressive to me, if you look at Jeffrey Herling's winning time of his qualifying heat race, I always kind of look at that because Herling's routinely in the sand races is as fast, if not faster, than the MX1 class. So Herling's heat race, qualifying race win was on par with Paulin's third place finish in Villopoto's the MX1 heat race. Air qualifying race. And Villopoto won by 33 seconds, but he was literally over 40 seconds faster than Paulin and 40 seconds faster than Herling's time. So RV was making a statement with that qualifying race that they have to do at MXGPs every week. And, it was an impressive and obviously winning the first moto. But we have to, I'm with you. We've got to find out what happened in the third moto to finish that far back. But he's certainly coming back around. Also, did you mention Thomas Covington, the American MX2 class, had a great 4th overall in MX2 with 2.55 finishes. So
that is great.
Good job with Thomas Covington for that.
Yeah, young guy. He went over there to really kind of start his pro career racing in Europe. No.
Yep, actually. And 2 things also. First, GNCC. That's where I'm sitting right now in the parking lot of the GNCC in Palatka, Florida. So another one of these grueling 3-hour sand-a-thons where it just keeps getting more.
What's the temperature?
Well, you know what? It's actually great. It's 70 degrees outside because we went through this 85 for a day or two. Then it got down to this ridiculous 52, windy, and raining for a day for the Enduro Cross that happened on Friday night. If you mentioned that, Cody Webb ended up winning that down at the Ocean Center, down right down in downtown Daytona Beach, a block off of Main Street there. But then it started warming up a little bit yesterday, a little bit, nothing comfortable. But today's a nice sunny day, and it's about 70 degrees. So perfect weather for the spectators to watch the GNCC, and we're going to see that. And then, Paul, you mentioned the Daytona 200. How about the fact that granddaddy of all road racing, or used to be, is on such life support that it's literally free to go watch.
It's free?
I heard that on the radio advertisement. Free admission.
That's
it's funny enough, this will be the first Daytona 200 I've missed since my daughter was born, and she'll turn 26 on the 12th. So
you got 25 of them.
And
right?
you know what? I'm not horribly sad.
But he is horribly sick.
No, but I bet you couldn't care less because I don't even. It's not even a glorified club race. I think if you went to a club race at Willow Springs, there'd be probably more of a competitive field. Would you agree with that? I mean, who's riding the thing?
Yeah, I mean they got some guys there, but and I don't know if it's true either. But I heard they also got free entries, so
it's a free for all.
I would absolutely believe that. Absolutely so.
Brockster, get home safe, buddy. We got the Texas Tornado coming up next.
Speaking of road racing legends, I want to hang on just to listen to what.
Hang on.
Are you kidding me? But Colin Edwards, I want to stay on, so don't dump me.
Might be a lot of beep, beep, beep.
That's what happens when an ex-motocrosser turns road racer. You get a great mix of personality there. So you guys,
hang on.
I'll hang on. You guys have a good show, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm going to be watching a little GNCT here.
Cool. You got it. Okay. See you, buddy. Well, there he is. Coming up next, Colin Edwards, MotoAmerica TV analyst, is what we're also going to talk about, and two-time World Superbike champ. But right now, here's one of those helpful riding hints from our friends at Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades. And here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
The California Vehicle Code has rules on motorcycle equipment. For example, Section 27801 prohibits raised bars if the hands of the rider when on the grips are more than 6 inches above shoulder height when sitting astride the seat. That same section prohibits seats that don't allow the rider to reach the ground with both feet.
This helpful hint has been brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
The negotiation begins the minute you walk in the door, Frank.
Jerry, I'm going to Toyota Carlsbad for my new Toyota. I don't have to worry.
Oh, brother, walk in with that attitude, you're dead meat.
Yeah, I don't think that's
First thing when you walk in,
what?
Walk out.
Jerry,
you come back the next day, just walk right in, walk right out. Look, come back a week later, look them right in the eye and say,
I'd like to buy a car.
No, walk out.
Jerry, does this explain why you don't own a car?
You made me forget. Was I in or out?
You're out.
This spring, hop in and save on a huge selection of new and used Toyotas.
Toyota Carlsbad. Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
Hi, James here from Toyota of Escondido. Guys, if you're hearing this commercial, that means you are into powerful machines that go fast and are durable. Toyota of Escondido has the biggest selection in San Diego of Toyota Tacomas and Toyota Tundras. Whether for work or play, we can customize the truck of your choice into the truck of your dreams. Don't waste time anywhere else. Stop by or give us a call. Toyota of Escondido. Freeway Close, where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, mighty 1090. Joined by the one and only Colin Edwards. Right now, you can follow him on Twitter at Texas Tornado 5. The Tornado himself joins Bike Week Radio Show, returns, and broadcasting in a 30-second delay just special.
Is he calling in, or are we calling him?
We got him on the line right now. Colin, good morning.
Perfect.
I'm here. What's going on, guys?
Now, where are you exactly? Aren't you snowboarding somewhere?
No, we were. We got back a couple of days ago, sitting at home here in Texas, watching it rain, miserable weather. Kind of wish I was back in Jackson Hole, to be honest.
Oh, it's supposed to be 85 here today, but I won't tell you that.
You traded Jackson Hole for Jack Holes.
Yeah, there you go.
So I got to tell you, when I found out that you were on the short list of getting the color commentary job for helping us with MotoAmerica this year, I was thrilled. Are you excited about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know me, my personality, and this I think that seems to fit pretty easy. I've done a couple of them in the past. Did BT Sport last year, went off really good. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. You know, it was, like I said, there was a couple of companies, I guess, bidding on it, and they had already called me, and I was kind of waiting for who won the bid, what was going on, and then I'm sitting around, and then I get a phone call saying, hey, come be a part of it. It's like, okay, what took you guys so long? But finally it came to fruition, and, yeah, really excited about it.
And maybe Paul or Colin, you guys can handle this. How does that even happen? Who decides who gets to be the analyst? Do you guys present the TV broadcasters, or does the TV company hire them yourselves? How does it even come together?
It was basically the production company went out and got the talent, and then they went through some process to figure out who that was going to be. But I think the TV company that we hired, I think they had a pretty good idea from the beginning, so they just had to get approval on things, and then I think that's all that was to it. But it did drag out a little bit longer than I thought it would. But everything seems to be dragging out a little bit longer when we're starting this thing from scratch. So
I think that's to be expected a little bit. Everything just trying to fit everything in a short amount of time. Yeah, I guess we expected a couple delays.
Yeah, and man, we've got a lot to do, but we'll get there. I mean, we don't have a choice. There's races coming up, and I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you at the tire test in a couple of weeks, which I think will be good. I tell people it's a tire test and a test for the teams, but as much as them, it's a test for us as well. And I know you guys are going to be doing some TV preview show stuff. We've got a 1-hour preview show that's going to air on CBS Sports, and they'll be working on that at the tire test. So it'll be good to get everybody together, and the work will truly begin once we get down there.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a superstar team. Obviously, we have Colin Edwards joining us right now. Also, Jonathan Green and Christy Lee will also be joining Colin alongside him. And so, do you have any familiarity working with those two before, or is it all kind of, we'll just get in the booth and figure out what we got?
Yeah, I've done quite a few things with Jonathan Green over the past. I think I've known him, I don't know, probably 25 years. It seems like he's been around forever. But great guy. We get along. We can bounce things off of one another, and he's got that kind of witty, dry wit. So, and Christy Lee, I've done a couple of interviews with her. Her on the other side of the microphone. But she seems great. I see her on TV. She seems like she's funny, and gonna fit right in. And we did a little interview last week on a different radio show, and she just seems like she's ready to go. And she's got plenty of experience. She keeps the ball rolling. So yeah, really excited to work with both of them.
Yeah, I worked with her. I guess it wasn't last week. The week before, we did some preview stuff out here, and she did. She went with us. We did a feature at the Yost shop and also down at Josh Hayes' place down here in Oceanside. And yeah, she's a pro. She knows what she's doing, and
her name's Christy Lee.
Yeah, and
with a name like that, I mean, what else could she be? Like a certified public accountant? I don't think so. Hi, Christy Lee, CPA. How can I help you?
Where was I going?
Sorry, Paul.
Anyway, I was saying
how
professional she is, and it's nice to see somebody that she knows the sport. It's not just like let's just get some pretty girl in here and fake it.
Or like, we got Pretty Little Guy. I won't mention his shows or radio.
Yeah,
hosts.
We do have a pretty little guy here.
He's only between you and I.
It's funny that we got such a handsome little kid. And then somebody realized we're on radio, so it doesn't matter if he's handsome.
Damn it.
So anyway, you're supposed to be retired, and you're not really retired. I mean, your time has got to be you got to be pretty busy these days because in addition to helping us with MotoAmerica, Colin's also Michelin's tire test.
That's real
main
work.
tire test guy because in 2016 the Spec tire in MotoGP moves from Bridgestone back to Michelin.
Wow.
Whenever I've gone and done a tire intro or a tire test, it's like, God, that's got to be like the hardest job in the world because, what do? You just crash and go, oh, yeah, that one's no good? I mean, that doesn't sound fun.
That sounds pretty easy. I don't like doing that. But no, we've been to Motegi a couple times, Sepang a couple times. And we're actually going to go to Coda right after. And I'm getting on a plane this afternoon to go to Australia for a couple days. The tire testing basically, we're sorting through so many different compounds, and we just made a pretty big, let's say casing or profile or whatever. I can't say a whole lot about it, but at least it's just trying to get in the right direction. When we started it, it was like a dang Christmas tree. You just don't really know where to go. So you filter through a few things, get on the right branch and start going in that direction. And I think finally after this last little test where the guys got to, ride the rubber as well, we kind of got one direction that looks good.
Is it hard to focus? Like, I can't imagine. I mean, I know you're not out there entirely by yourself, but I mean, it's got to be. The group's pretty small. Is it? I mean, what do you? I guess it gives you an opportunity to just focus solely on those tires, right?
Yeah, and honestly, the bike. I mean, since I got it, they set it up like Valentino set it up in 2013 at Motegi, and I haven't touched it. I mean, the bike is good, so that takes one factor out of it instead of jacking around with the bike all the time. We just simply focus on tires, and it's, for me, being retired, it's no pressure. There's no real pressure. You go out and look at the stopwatch. Look at the stopwatch, come in, give me your feedback. I put another tire on, look at the stopwatch, give me your feedback. There are particular tires I'll come in and be like, that is awesome. I mean, that one right there is really good, way better than the last two. So, and it just kind of works like that. And, some of this is rubber and casings and constructions and profiles. I mean, we're testing all different kinds of things to see, just try to extract the best lap time we can and durability.
Yeah, and it's not like Michelin doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, somebody said, oh, they're so far behind, they're this and they're that. It's like, come on, guys, they're Michelin.
Exactly.
And when it's time, when the flag drops at that first race in 2016, I'm pretty sure they're going to have their act together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're no dummies. They definitely know where they're going with it. Like I said, we had a couple different avenues that they were looking at. And this last test, finally, I think we got it down to one. And it'll only get better from that point. Instead of going, a few different directions, we're just going one direction. And this year it will improve greatly.
Now, is there do you feel pressure? Like, hey, those guys come up to you and go, hey, Colin, what the hell's wrong with these tires, man? You're supposed to be the guy that's supposed to make these tires good. I mean, is
they
that
were done in 4 laps.
Yeah, is that the kind of thing you're going to hear?
Well, it's funny because I kind of had this conversation with them at the last test because, I went out and crashed it a couple tests ago, and I had no idea why I crashed. It just kind of rolled over the edge of the tire, and I was on my butt, which I'm thinking while I'm sliding, I'm like, I'm retired, man. I'm not supposed to be crashing. So, whenever we went, everybody got on the tires, I was like, man, I'm going to look like a douche here, but if these guys start throwing it away, they're all going to come to me and say, hey, man, what the heck's going on? And sure enough, what was it, 3 or 4 guys that threw, I don't know, $1.2 million down the road. And I was like, oh, gosh, I tried to sneak out of there just a little bit. But, it's not all in my hands. Of course, they know that.
You get like a bonus for that. In the racing days, you get a bonus for podium appearances and wins. But, if I was Valentino Rossi or Pedrosa or any of the guys who are going to race in that tire, I'd want you to get all those crashes, all those issues out of the way. And I mean, I think the riders should pool funds. They're always talking about forming a rider union. I would lobby, if I were you, Colin, to get a fund together. Colin's going to get all the crashes out of these tires before we suit them up.
I'm not sure how that would roll over, to be honest with you.
We could probably negotiate.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be good for you either. I mean, the main reason you retire is because you don't want to crash anymore, right?
Yeah. I've yet to find a tire that you just cannot crash on. So if somebody's going to do it, doesn't really matter what you do.
But I'll bet you've been on tires that crashed a lot.
Oh yeah, I've been on those for sure, but no, we're out of that generation.
We're joined right now by Colin Edwards. You can follow him on Twitter at Texas Tornado 5. And Colin also has the Texas Tornado Boot Camp, which our good buddy Paul Carruthers here has attended, which to me it sounds like the ultimate mancation, basically.
Was there any crashing for you, Paul, there?
I think I only had 2.
I've seen endless video of
I only
Colin
had
going around
2.
there
I think
drinking a beer, one-handed, popping wheelies,
shoot
no
guns,
problem.
drink beer, ride bikes, get to hang out at the saloon / whorehouse.
Going in, I thought I was going to crash 100 times, but I only ended up having 2, and I think that's just just shows how truly talented I am. And what a truly talented and group of instructors they have.
There's the key right there. Colin, tell us about Dirt Wars. Next weekend you got, looks like round 7, first round of 2015. What is Dirt Wars?
Yeah, I get back in on the 13th on Friday, so 14th. What it is, Dirt Wars, if how Speedway's put together, it's like speed sprints. You got your 4 laps, and then another 4 guys get on the grid, do 4 laps. It's 28 races in total. We use our bikes only, so guys just show up with their gear, or we got gear if they need it. They pay their entry fee, and then they get split into, we have 3 main heats, so you've got 9 races of heats. Then you start another block of 9 races. And you never race the same guy twice. It's just a points tally. And then the guy who has the most points at the end, then you start with E main. The winner of the E main can go to the D main, and then the winner of the D can go to the C, and so forth. And then you come out with an outright winner, a Dirt Wars champion. And this year we got a Mad Dog class too. So if you want to bring your hot rod, you can come, and that's more for racing for a little bit of cash. The real Dirt Wars is more for pride and a big trophy.
So the other classes where you get to race like Joe's cheater bike?
Yeah, Joe will be on his cheater bike for sure.
He's one of the instructors. I got to spin a few laps on that bike, and it's quite a bit different than.
But, hey, you'd be amazed, and there's tons of cheater bikes around here now. Now that we've got this, we got guys up and down. You remember Mike Martin?
Yeah.
Road racer?
Yeah.
So he's got a whole crew up there now. All they're doing is just building Mad Dog cheater bikes, and it's like Dallas against Houston area at the moment.
That's fun.
No rivalry there.
Yeah.
All right, Colin. I'm going to see you here in a couple of weeks at the tire test. I appreciate you coming on. Your retirement. You're obviously not at Leisure World at this point, so it sounds like you're doing pretty well. And it'll be fun working with you on the TV stuff. I get to give some input there, and hopefully I think we'll make some nice TV shows out of it.
Awesome. Oh yeah, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Once again, you can follow him on Twitter at Texas Tornado 5. What exactly qualifies as a Mad Dog cheater bike? That's an awesome quote. I got to start working that in the vocabulary.
Yeah.
It's got a little paintball cannon on it.
Everyone needs a Mad Dog
shoot out the
cheater
side.
bike.
Yeah, like Ben Hur.
Yeah.
Well, it's like anything else. You start racing these motorcycles, and they're supposed to be stock, and the next thing, some guy comes up with some little thing that makes it better, and another
guy has another enhancement.
And then before you know it, you're racing like $10,000,
Oh, that's what you guys
TTR.
mean when you guys are talking about male enhancements. I got you. Okay, I got you. That's what you guys are referring to.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Bob Jones will be joining us. They have a very cool charity auction in which they're trying to raise funds for one of their fallen friends. But we'll get into that when we come back right here. Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090.
The negotiation begins the minute you walk in the door, Frank.
Jerry, I'm going to Toyota Carlsbad for my new Toyota. I don't have to worry.
Brother, walk in with that attitude, you're dead meat.
Yeah, I don't think that's
First thing when you walk in, walk out.
Jerry,
you come back the next day, just walk right in, walk right out. Come back a week later, look them right in the eye and say,
I'd like to buy a car.
No, walk out.
Jerry, does this explain why you don't own a car?
You made me forget, was I in or out?
You're out.
This spring, hop in and save on a huge selection of new and used Toyotas.
Toyota Carlsbad. Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Get your motor running.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, Mighty 1090. Thank you for checking us out here on Mighty 1090 or on that brand new handy-dandy Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app. Oh,
that is an app.
And you can't say it enough, Phil Kottner, who is the mastermind behind it. I mean, the thing is beautiful. It's easy to navigate. It's easy to get our
very
podcast.
quickly.
Oh, it's beautiful. So, Phil, good on you. Let's head out to the hotline now where we are talking to Bob Jones. And, Bob, they have the Chris Blankenship Memorial Benefit coming up Friday, March 27th, and it is at the Moto Musuem in St. Louis, Missouri. And, Bob, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Now, Bob, fill us in a little bit about Chris Blankenship and the Memorial Benefit and how people listening can either attend or just maybe help contribute remotely.
Well, we'll take any donations we can get, but Chris, I own a dealership in Washington, Missouri, which is right outside of St. Louis, and Chris started riding out of our dealership when he was 6. His dad was a heavy equipment operator, and Chris's lifelong ambition was to build supercross tracks, and about 15 years ago, he got the chance to join the Dirtworks crew, and that's what he did for the last 15 years is build most of the supercross tracks, and got to fly all over the world building world championship tracks. And we put on a fair race in the first full week of August every year, and Chris has always ran that for us. And he built a track this year, and his very good buddy and friend Kevin Windham came up, and Chris decided he was going to race, and unfortunately he did and was killed. And he left 2 young children behind, Caitlin and Mason. Caitlin's 12, Mason's 8. And what we decided to do is have a fundraiser for the educational fund for Caitlin and Mason. So, and we're going to have it at the Moto Musuem the night before the St. Louis Supercross from 5:30 to 10:30. There'll be a live auction, also a lot of silent auction items.
Very cool. And once again, we just want to spread the word out. Like you said, Chris has 2 young kids we want to help support. And so Chris Blankenship Memorial Benefit, Moto Musuem, that'll be Friday, March 27th coming up. And I'm just looking at some of the cool stuff being auctioned. Like you said, Kevin Windham will have some autographed gear, and people can all bid on that.
Yeah, it's going to get tickets, you can go to BlankenshipFund.com. We're going to auction off a 1974 Penton 250 that I used to race years ago, and did a lot of stuff in the 2-day ISDE vintage races. We're going to have a complete set of Fox racing gear, helmet, boots. That's donated by Team Bull Taco. We're going to have a complete set of fly gear donated by Fly. Plus, we've got Jeremy McGrath autographed jersey, Ricky Carmichael autographed jersey. The list just goes on. And the guys that are Chris's friends that still work at Dirtworks have been collecting race-worn jerseys, pants, gear all season long. So they're planning on getting all that stuff to me, and we should have that the night of the of the auction as well.
Well, Bob, we appreciate you coming on and helping plug the event once again, Friday, March 27th at the Moto Musuem in St. Louis, Missouri. Bob, thanks, and good luck with the event.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you,
problem.
Bob.
Well, also, Scott Cox, we ran out of news a little bit because we had so much going on, but you were at a very cool event right here in San Diego last night.
I was at round 3 of the Ivy League promoted Del Mar Short Track Series, and last night was, they had an opening round in January, had another round on Valentine's Day in February, and the last night they closed off their short season. And I've never raced flat track myself, but it's a hoot because short track racing and the format of this event it has everything that really appeals to anybody about racing a motorcycle and just riding motorcycles. So you see guys like Josh Hayes there last night. You see world-class competitors rubbing elbows with my neighbor on his Taco 44 mini bike, and little kids and old people, and it's fun to watch. It's easy to understand what's going on. It's not a complex race format. You go around a little dirt oval, and I think it's probably an 1/8 mile oval. So it's the good guys are never not turning. They're sliding,
right?
And
straightaway doesn't.
You
exist.
really do see some impressive bike handling skills, but it's inexpensive. Here in Southern California, we're literally right on the Pacific Ocean where the track is located. So it was
where the surf meets the turf.
Yeah. It was 70 degrees last night, and it was just a total pleasure.
I saw on Instagram Joe Roberts, who's a MotoAmerica young racer kid.
Yep.
He's going to race 600 Superstock 600. I guess he won he said that like a 50 lapper, and he beat Josh Hayes, which is cool.
Yeah, they closed it out last night with a 50 lap main, and it was just great. We'll be posting a lot of photos. I shot literally 1,000 photos there yesterday, so we'll be posting the best ones on Bike
and
Radio
if you're unfamiliar with it, I think the best way to sort of make a comparison, it's sort of like short track speed skating, where it's like super
honestly,
close.
It's exactly like
that's
that.
Exactly
Everybody's like turning at a 45
You are
degree
leaning
angle.
on the other guy's motorcycle,
and it looks like you're just doing everything you can to keep the bike upright, and it just looks like at any given time gravity's going to take its course and wipe the whole
and
field out.
We talked a little bit about earlier about going to Daytona, and one of the things that I really enjoyed about Daytona was
and
the
that
short
you're
track.
missing this year.
And I'm missing this year is the short track because, like you said, it's like that. It's like speed skating. And the funny part is, if you're covering the race, or even if you're just watching it and you've got a good pass, you can go in the center of the track, right? So picture like you're actually watching it and taking notes because you have to write a story about it.
Right.
Well, you find yourself you stand in one spot and you're just spinning
They're 10
around
feet
it.
from
you. Pretty soon you're up to your waist in dirt because you've dug a hole
you've
and
augured in, literally.
Corkscrewed yourself
yeah,
down.
you just corkscrew yourself in, and you're getting.
And then one of the highlights. I mean, there are many highlights, but among the highlights for myself and probably everyone else who was there last night, including the competitors, it's the hooligan race. I mean, guys show up on. Some of them were riding motorcycles. They rode there with their wives, girlfriends, significant others on the back. But I didn't see any dressers last night, but full-blown hogs, Harleys. Some guys with ape hangers. Some of them set up to do what they were doing last night. I saw a crew from Roland Sands there, and they had some highly modified, expensive, virtually, custom dirt track-inspired custom builds, and they're out there doing a great job. But you never know. It's all about technique. I saw some guys there, and I'm going, oh, this guy's just going to be a total failure. I mean, just smoking. There was a guy out there, and I wish I knew the guy, but he had to be pushing 400 pounds in one of the classes, and he was a rocket ship.
Well, that's why the road racers and stuff use that short track for training because it's just throttle control. It's just it's all throttle control. And if you go out there and whiskey throttle the thing, it doesn't.
And there
work.
was a lot of that. The whiskey throttling was quite entertaining.
Probably the whiskey was probably.
I was just going to say, just by you, Scott. Yeah.
Hey, when isn't it? But
NyQuil.
There was two of the competitors who finished well in the 50-lap main, and they did well throughout the day and evening program. They're from the Pettin family. I don't know them myself, but our good friend Alex Aruas from Kontiki Motorcycles was with us, and he knows the Pettin family.
Pettin,
yeah, Petton. And if I understand correctly, it was Travis Sr., Grandpa, or Travis II, grandpa, and then 12-year-old grandson, and they were racing together. I mean,
that's
it
cool.
was awesome, and really, really, you talk about throttle control. It's insane because Richard Pollock from Mule Motorcycles, he's an active flat track competitor and flat track bike builder. He said the track was actually very rough yesterday. You know, it's hard for me to determine because I don't do that kind of racing, and usually if I'm in the dirt, everything's rough. But, you know, these guys, they're carrying a lot of speed and, you know, managing all their systems, throttle control, and it's impressive to see a guy who really knows what he's doing just pulling time on guys that look like they're really going fast but just didn't have that smoothness. And really the being smooth in that kind of sport is the key to success.
And that's what's good about the Colin Edwards' camp. I mean, you go there for 2, 3, 4 days, and that's all you do.
Yep.
And it's amazing how much you learn about riding a motorcycle just by doing that. And again, on small motorcycles,
True.
You don't need a 450 or whatever to do that.
And I learned there's a program for amateurs and first timers that starts at noon today. So I think there's a full program of racing. As there was yesterday. It starts at noon. You could show up there. They even have a knobby tire class. So a lot of motocrossers. You can just show up there, and they will put you out there on that dirt track.
I don't think I could pass the drug test if is NyQuil on the
NyQuil's a sponsor.
Is that on the WADA list?
NyQuil is on 3 of the hay bales. I think.
And that little Del Mar Arena is just a cool little venue.
It's a
like
beautiful
intimate.
venue.
It's a cool spot.
It's awesome.
So, Scott Cox, appreciate you checking that out. We had one host checking out the
I was there with our
here.
good friend, with Gavin Tripp, famous race promoter and auction kind of guy, and then my family members, Robin Askins and Laura Dunham, my niece, and my brother-in-law Warren. And we had such a wonderful time. So,
like at Bike Week Radio Show, literally
can't wait to go
spanning
back.
the globe. We had one in Florida, one right here in San Diego. We covered everything. And
one
Paul,
on his couch.
And Paul tripping on NyQuil. Well, Paul Carruthers, get home safe, buddy, and get some rest.
Yeah, I'm going to do maybe a little napping today. Will be in order.
We'll hire a driver for him and take him back north.
Scott Cox, great effort out of you as well, my friend.
Can't wait to come back.
Let's do it next week right here. Same bat time, same bat channel on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
You've been listening to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Join us next week for more Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.